When I first bought this land, folks around here thought I'd lost my mind. 6 acres in the middle of nowhere, old logging road winding up through the woods, nothing but silence and fresh air. You planning to start a cattle farm or join the witness protection program? One neighbor joked. I just laugh. After 2 decades in the Marine Corps, peace and quiet sounded like the jackpot. If I'd known back then the real battle would be waiting for me right here. Well, let's just say I might have picked a spot with a little less HOA drama. The first year was nothing but good living. Built my house myself. Big windows pointed toward the Smokies. Did my own wiring. Even ran a generator strong enough to light up half the county. My son, Jason, would come by on weekends, and sometimes a few of my Marine buddies would roll up for a little bourbon and fishing. The world felt right. Until, well, Eagle Ridge Hills showed up. Suddenly there were these houses, all lined up like they came off an assembly line, HOA signs, rules, and fake smiles. I figured as long as they stayed on their side, we'd be fine. Turns out, I was dreaming. The first letter arrived one morning, typed up so stiff I could practically hear the sender's jaw clenching. Dear Mr. McKinley, please lower your generator noise to meet community standards. Community standards? I wasn't part of their community, never signed a thing, paid my taxes, owned my land outright. But the letters kept coming. One about my American flag, a flag I'd carried everywhere from Camp Pendleton to Kandahar, being the wrong color palette. Then it was my porch lights, my firewood pile, even the number of trucks in my drive on holidays. Visual disharmony, they called it. I nearly choked on my coffee laughing. The architect behind all this nonsense? Karen Demon, HOA president, queen of Eagle Ridge. She turned up at my fence once, clipboard in hand, talking about visual alignment with community expectations. I just looked at her and said, "You're standing on the wrong side of this fence to make demands." That was the shot across the bow, and after that, she went to war. Noise complaints, calls to the sheriff, health department gripes, even tried to get the county to close my gravel road because the dust threatened the lungs of local seniors. You can't make this up. Every time she failed, she got more creative. I kept every letter, saved every email, logged every complaint. Years in the Marines will teach you. Never get blindsided by paperwork. Still, the tension hung heavy, like the air before a storm. Karen wasn't just looking to boss me around anymore. She was waiting for her chance. That chance came Memorial Day, a date that means something different to us veterans. I'd always hosted a small barbecue, just a handful of guys, a few cold drinks, no big scene. Jason was there, camera in hand, wanting to record it for posterity. The old crew rolled in. Doug, who's a sheriff now. Malik, built like a tank. Tommy, who runs a coffee shop and never stops cracking jokes. And Bennett, quietest man alive but a rock when it counts. The grill was hot, the bourbon was flowing, and Jason was moving between us, filming like he was capturing a sacred ritual, but peace doesn't last. Not out here. Late afternoon, sun hanging low, we heard the gate squeak. I'd left it unlocked, rookie mistake. In marches Karen, khaki pants, salmon blouse, striding like she owns the place. With her, 3 goons, 2 muscle-bound in black polos, one with a camera, and one flashing a stun gun at his belt. She's waving a manila folder, shouting about emergency HOA jurisdiction. I couldn't help myself. "You're not my HOA," I told her flat out. Doug stood up, arms folded. "You got no authority here." Karen ignored him, barking orders to her crew, telling us to vacate the property and threatening us with enforcement actions. That's when things went sideways. One of the muscle guys grabbed my shirt, rookie move. I dropped him into the rib table with a quick sweep. Barbecue, beer, and Man Mountain everywhere. The second guy raised his taser, but Malik was faster, popping his wrist and putting him on the ground. Tommy and Doug held them steady, while the cameraman backed up, eyes wide, filming like it was reality TV. And Karen? In the chaos, she slipped, stumbled, and fell straight into the pool. A cannonball of karma if there ever was one. She popped up sputtering, threatening lawsuits, screaming that she'd have us arrested. Jason kept the camera rolling, God bless him, catching every wild second. Meanwhile, the wives had already called the sheriff. Marlene, Doug's wife, explained on speakerphone that we had armed trespassers, one wielding a stun gun, threatening violence at a private event. Sirens came quick. Officer Nate Holloway, tall, easy smile, steps out. His dad served with me, so he knows the score. Karen runs to him, playing the victim, waving her soaked folder and claiming she was attacked. Nate just gives her this look. Karen, what you did was trespassing. You have no say on this land. She tried to argue, but the older officer with him just shook his head. We've got it all on video, I said, handing over Jason's footage. They watched Karen's little invasion, her muscle roughing us up, her dive into the pool. Nate nearly laughed. End of the day, her goons were cuffed and stuffed in patrol cars. Turns out, one had a warrant out of Kentucky. Karen was cited for trespassing, her folder ruined, her dignity somewhere at the bottom of the pool. But she didn't quit. Oh no, the HOA sent me a letter the next morning, all formal weasel words about regrettable incidents and community standards. That's when I called my lawyer, Lincoln Matz, Southern Pitbull, Harvard trained. He filed suit, trespassing, assault, impersonation, the works. In court, Karen's defense was a fever dream. She tried to represent herself, quoted YouTube, claimed I was running a paramilitary compound disguised as a barbecue pit. The judge looked ready to throw the book at her, and he did. Video evidence, veteran testimony, it was open and shut. Jury took one look and awarded me damages, big enough to make the HOA and Karen personally liable. The county even pressed criminal charges for her fake enforcement stunt and hiring thugs. Karen got jail time. The HOA board quit. The whole organization unraveled. The assets got auctioned off, surveillance gear, even Karen's house. I bought the server just to wipe it and let Jason store his film projects. Her old house turned into a transition home for vets. The next Memorial Day, we went big. Banners, shirts, drone shots. Private property, invitation only. The new neighbors, no more HOA, just folks, came over with lemonade and folding chairs. Jason's documentary got picked up by a nonprofit. And someone, no one would admit who, tied a Barbie doll with a clipboard to the pool rail. A little memorial for Karen's ring. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the Smokies, I raised my glass and looked at my friends, my son, all these new faces free from petty tyranny. If they ever come back, I said, they better bring a better lawyer. Or better yet, just stay gone. Yeah, that happened. Now, I want to know, where do you stand? Was I right to fight for my land? Or did the HOA have a point? Drop your thoughts below, because out here, every voice counts when it comes to what's right, what's wrong, and what's worth fighting for.